Welcome to Bring Out Your Badass Self, a movement to break your negative thoughts and habits and instead focus on building each other up and encouraging fearless authenticity.
Each week, we will get vulnerable and share experiences alongside our guests and audience. Come rediscover your inner badass self.
Good morning, badasses. It's so great to see you guys this week, and I'm excited about all the things that are happening right now. I'm also have a lot of things going on that aren't going quite the way that I want them to go. But I think today's topic is going to really help us to sort of reframe and think about some of those challenges that we go through, how they actually are helping us to manifest what we want in life. And so as you guys are joining us, please say hello. Let me know that you are here. I always love the interaction from you guys. And today we're going to be talking about the law of attraction. And this particular topic is one that I'm very passionate about, one that I love, one that I use all the time. And I feel like I am still learning, of course, but I also feel like I have done a really good job of continuing to manifest or attract what it is that I want in life. And so today, my hope is that I can also share some of that insight that I have learned. Keep in mind, this is my perspective. I've pulled from many different sources, but ultimately, it ends up being the things that I have found that actually work in the law of attraction and manifesting what it is you want. And so I want to hear from you. It looks like we have some people already giving us comments. So let's go over to those. J-Ro is here. She says, good morning, badass. Looking forward to today's show. Listening when I can while working. Every day is a fresh start. Yes, it is. Ready for mind. Sending good vibes to you and everyone listening. So thank you so much, J-Ro, for those amazing good vibes, and back at you. All right, we have the nomadic Joneses, and so I think this is Heather. So thank you so much for joining us. She says, hello, fellow badass. Happy Friday. Yes, happy Friday to you as well. And Carmen coming in saying, good morning, my beautiful badass. I love and miss you. Same back at you, Carmen. Miss you, and you're my fellow beautiful badass as well. Thank you always for showing up. And then Heather's coming in from LinkedIn. She says, hello again, fellow badass. I'm hanging out over on YouTube to watch because LinkedIn is sometimes not great, and will probably comment here. So I understand. So thank you, Heather, for letting us know that was you over on YouTube. So as more people join, please say hello. Let me know that you are here. So let's see. What do I have going on? Well, I have a birthday. My birthday is this Sunday, and guess what? I'm going to be traveling on my birthday, but I blew it out for my 50th, and for my 51st, I'm not really doing much. I'm actually doing stuff for other people. So tonight, I'm going to be going to my neighbor's daughter's event. She's going to be doing a dance concert, or a dance performance. And my daughter wanted to go to that, and I also want to see her. So we're going to be going to watch her. And then on Saturday, we're actually going for the other daughter for our neighbor. She is actually an all-star softball, and we're going to be going to Truist Park. So they're going to be playing on a huge field. And it's going to be an all-day event pretty much on that Saturday. And then I fly out on Sunday. So I need some good vibes related to TSA and all the craziness that is going on. So I'm going to be flying out on Sunday. My husband and my daughter are going to be fending for themselves. They do rather well together in keeping each other in line. And I really say that, both of them keeping each other in alignment. And so it takes both of them to sort of keep each other on their toes. And then I'm going to our biggest conference of the year. So that's where I am going this week. I don't think I'm going to have any problems. I'm manifesting a beautiful, safe flight out to Denver and then making it back from Denver. And for me, I'm also doing that for everyone else that is coming out within my group. So that's what I'm going to be manifesting as well. And so we have a couple more comments. So Michael joining us. So Michael joined us last week. If you guys missed that, be sure to go back and take a look at that. He says, "Good morning, badass. Looking forward to this episode." Yes, I love this episode, Michael. And I'll be curious if you maybe catch some tips or things like that that maybe you didn't know, or things that I've sort of figured out that maybe you're still doing, or I still want to hear from others. Like maybe there's things that you guys have figured out that I'm still learning. So I would love to hear from you on this particular topic. And then Heather says, "That sounds like a great way to celebrate your birthday. The ability to give to, do for others is worth celebrating." Yes, Heather. She also says, "Oh no." Oh no, fingers crossed for the travel for you with the reduction in flights at major airports. Yeah, so luckily, my understanding is that Denver is actually uh, not going to be impacted. That's where I'm going. They are actually paying their traffic control people, so that one isn't supposed to be impacted, and that's where I'm going. I have a direct flight. What I'm concerned about are people that have like regional flights or things like that that are having to go there, but we're all going to get there. We'll get there when we get there, and things will turn out the way that they're supposed to. We also have Lisa joining. Thank you, Lisa, for joining. She says, "Good morning, beautiful badasses." And if you guys didn't see, I actually joined Lisa. I want to say time is flying. I feel like it's 2 weeks ago. It might have only been a week ago. I can't remember, but go back and check that out. I did post that on my page, and we talked about menopause, and we talked about your mindset and the things that impact you. And funny enough, Lisa, I actually just went to the doctor, did all the fun stuff. So this is your reminder. Go get checked out for your prostate, for your mammogram, all those types of things. And she said that I'm in perimenopause. So that was one of the things that I discovered this week, is I'm at the beginning stages of things. And so I'm going to be exploring what all that is going to look like over the next couple of years for me. And so this is just your reminder to take care of yourself and go get checked out and make sure that you're doing the things that you need to do to stay up with your health and taking care of yourself. All right, David joining us. So David, thank you so much for joining us. I want to say this might be the first time you've joined, but let me know if you've been here before. He says, "Happy Friday, everyone. Hope everyone is doing great." So great seeing you, David. Thanks so much for joining us. This is going to be a great topic today. And then I have a LinkedIn user. I don't have LinkedIn up right now, so I don't know who this is, but let me know who you are, and welcome. And Heather says, "Welcome to the Perimenopausal Club." Yes, I'm right there with you, and I have an online support group I can connect you with. So thank you so much. Yes, she said you were on last week. Yes, it feels like 2 weeks, Lisa, honestly, with everything that's been going on. And she said it was such a wonderful episode. And yes, thank you for bringing me on. And I enjoyed connecting with everyone there. So be sure to go back and check that out, and check out Lisa as well. All right. So let's jump into today's topic, which is the law of attraction. And so the core principle really of the law of attraction is like attracts like. And the law of attraction is really the most well-known universal law. And it states that everything in your life, from your words to your beliefs, is attracted through energy. So like attracts like. So you draw in the people and experiences that match your energy frequency, and positive energy brings positivity, while negative energy attracts negative. And I'm going to talk about that as well, because there are some misconstrued things that you can't manifest when you're, for example, maybe in, like you might end up impacting yourself and thinking, "Oh, not positive, so that is why I'm not bringing in things. Yes and no. And I'm going to talk about that. So as we go along, as we start to talk about this, I want to say a quick hello to Miss Kim. She's coming in. She says good morning and happy Friday to one of my favorite beautiful badass ladies. And so Kim and I are going to be actually driving together. I'm going to drive down. We're going to go to the airport together. We're going to have a fabulous flight, right, Kim? And then Lindsay's going to be meeting with us coming from Florida to our Atlanta flight. And we're all going to be going into together from Atlanta, and we're going to be just fine. And that's what I'm going to be manifesting. And we're going to be good. We're going to get there when we're supposed to get there. All right. So one of the first things that I want to talk about regarding the law of attraction and also manifesting is what's called an energetic state. And I think that it's important to understand this first before we really get into more of the law of attraction. And so the first thing to understand is when you're manifesting, understanding what your energetic state is. And so in the context of manifestation or the law of attraction, an energetic state is the overall vibration created by your thoughts, your emotions, and your beliefs in the moment. And it's the frequency that you are putting out into the universe. So what is an energetic state? What do I mean by that? And so when we look at quantum mechanics, and this is from a scientific perspective, it states that there are two energies, so two energy states. And it says through quantization that only certain discrete energies are allowed. And those two are ground state and excited states. And so the ground state is the lowest possible energy level, and excited states is the high energy levels above the ground state. And so when we say energetic state, we're really talking about our current vibrational output. So it combines our dominant thoughts, emotions, and beliefs. And then the high vibe emotions like joy or gratitude raise our frequency, where low vibe emotions, fear or doubt, lower it. And so why this matters is that like attracts like. So you tend to draw in experiences and people whose vibration matches you. And so it's important to be aware of the state that you let your that you let consciously shift it. So through practices like visualization or affirmations or meditation, it gets you towards what you want. But I think it's important to understand what those different types of states are. So in manifesting, it begins with recognizing and managing that energetic state. And so we have grounded versus excited states. And so grounded, we talk about that all the time, like going out and putting your feet on the ground, or people even use grounding sheets or things like that. But it's really about sometimes meditating or having stillness. It's about being calm and stable and down to earth. It's about being confident and focused. And so it's, you know what you want, and you also trust that you're moving towards that, what it is that you have in mind. And it's also free from excessive anxiety and fear. So you are accepting the present moment that you are in. Whereas the excited state is this high energy, enthusiasm, full of passion. You're eagerly envisioning your future as if you've already achieved it. And the thing to keep in mind is that if the excitement isn't also balanced or harmonized with that inner security, you might skip some of the necessary real world steps that come along. And so I'm going to talk about that in a little bit, on the things that you might end up skipping in order to make sure that you're manifesting what you want. The other thing to keep in mind is, that being said, sometimes low vibe emotions can attract things you want. For example, let's say you're painting or writing in anger. That is an excited state. And a lot of times, some of the best things actually come from like releasing some of that energy that is related to maybe anger or um, sadness, things that we go through. But if we remain in that anger state, then we then start to attract the anger. And so it's important to understand that those excited states can still attract. And so that's why I said earlier, positive attracts positive, negative attracts negative. However, in these types of things, those can be excited states and they can still attract things. But it is meant to get you also to be in a grounded place where you can also retain it. So let's think about that. For example, have you ever seen someone who has, where it almost seems like they've manifested the lottery, like they won all their money? And then all of a sudden, you see that they lose all of their money. And it's the same type of thing. Sometimes you can attract those types of things, but if you haven't done the internal work and you're not doing it from a place of a grounded place, then you'll also end up losing it as well. And so when people say you can only attract when you're positive, that's not really true. Another example might be like a comedian, for example. They do an amazingly comedy sometimes by calling upon the dark shit in their life, and they can attract. They can become famous and rich. But if they remain in that state, then they won't end up retaining it. So it's important that if you want to retain what it is that you have manifested, then you also have to do the work in order to get there. And a little bit more on grounded versus overexcited is that grounded alignment, which is that steady confidence, often sustains that long-term manifestation better than feeling bursts of excitement just by themselves. And excitement is great for a momentum, but it also needs to be paired with that grounded belief and action. And so I want to stop there for a second just to see, how does that resonate? And when you have gotten something in your life, when you're like, this is what I want, and you're focused on it, or maybe sometimes you are creating something, you're writing something, or you're painting something, or doing something, and it's always something creative, because let's keep in mind manifestation is about creation. And so sometimes you might be in that low vibration state and manifested something. And so I'm curious just to hear from you guys when you have manifested or attracted something. Could be a person, it could be money, it could be a job, it could be, I'm manifesting, this is the perfect house, this house, this is what I have in mind. What is it? How did you feel in the moment? And then have you ever created something that was based on like a trauma or something that you were healing over as well? So I just want to hear and see if anybody has any thoughts, things that they have done as well. So please put that in there. I'm going to take just a second to have some of my hot tea. My cup, oh, you can't see it. It's on the other side. My cup says, my husband is hotter than my coffee, but I have tea today. And so I loved this cup. I thought it was funny. And then I also have some water, by the way. It says focus, manifest, and repeat. And so I thought that was a good one for today as well, for today's topic. All right. So let's talk a little bit about vibration. And so when we talk about it in how it affects manifestation, manifestation works by matching your vibration to what you want. And so we talked about when you're grounded, your vibration is steady, which supports consistent, sort of the long-term alignment with what you're looking for. And when you're excited, your vibration is high, which can help you attract what you desire quickly, but only if you end up finding a way to become grounded. And so the opposite can also happen. So if you're purely calm, but unmotivated, then you have that low energy, and that can result in slow results. where also you have purely excitement but unfocused way of going after things, then you can have high energy and it can fizzle out because you don't have any direction into where it is that you're going. So the ideal state that we're looking for is really that grounded confidence plus the enthusiasm that you believe that this is where things are going. All right, let's see what Heather said. She said, I've seen it most in the type of people I attract into my life. Before I understood the con kept you're talking about with excited versus grounded energy, I attracted a lot of energy vampires. Oh, do tell. I would love to know more about that. And she said, these days, those folks don't seem to come into my sphere. And so that's interesting. I'd love to know more about that. J. Rose says, well, I'm in the thick of manifesting right now, and I have been for 4 years. Yes, I'm going to talk about that as well. Sometimes it takes a while. So my success is the light at the end of the tunnel, and I'm getting there. Right now, it's stay tuned, but my future is bright. I love that. And I think that that's really important to understand, is that a lot of times people think, you know what, I'm manifesting. Why am I not seeing it? Oh, it's not working. And so we're going to talk about some of the pitfalls as well, and some of the common things that I think for me, that's the most important part. Like, it's easy to say, do this. It's the what you shouldn't do, or the things that are negatively impacting you, that are keeping you from getting it as well, that really impacts things. And so a lot of times people will say, I created my vision board, but nothing happened. Or I told the universe and nothing happened. So let's talk about some of those things. Here are some of the most common mistakes that people make when they're using visualization or setting intention, and also more importantly, how to avoid them. And I'm going to pull up what Heather said real quick before I jump into that. Mostly people who were happy to take all the energy I was willing to put into our relationship interactions without really expending any of their own to maintain those relationships interactions. Yeah. You know, that's, we're going to talk about that. And that's really has to do with patterns, like recognizing those things as well, to be able to remove those things from your life. And so the first one is really vague or conflicting goals. So a lot of times the mistake that people make is, I want to be rich. But we need to clarify what rich means to you. So I've seen some people where they're like, I want abundance, or I want to be rich, or I want money, or things like that. And so money is more clear, but if you say the word rich, for example, that could be rich in people that surround you. That could be rich in experiences. So what does rich actually mean? So the importance is getting specific, defining the number, the lifestyle details, the timelines. It's visualizing, even seeing, like, explaining like what the color or the feeling, or like more details, and then really writing it down with clear positive language, in understanding what it is that you're looking for. And whenever I state the word clear and positive language, it's also important to understand. So number two is really understanding that words matter. And so when you focus on what you don't want, like, I don't want to be stressed, you're going to keep that on your mind and you're going to continue to be stressed. So instead, you could frame that intention positively. I am calm and I'm confident in my work, or I'm confident in my life. Things are going to work out. Just like earlier, I was saying, yep, there's some stuff going on with the airports and things like that, but it's going to turn out the way that it's supposed to turn out. You know, things are going to be good, and I'm going to, you know, things are going to be fine. We're going to arrive when it is we're supposed to arrive. I'm confident that things will be just fine. The one thing that I also see a lot is people will say, I don't. Like, I don't want, a broke ass, or I don't want a gold digger, or, things like that. And so if you are stating what you don't want, guess what you're going to get? Yep, that's exactly what you're going to get. And so if you state the negative things that keep happening versus what you want, then that will keep happening. So, for example, I keep meeting assholes. Yep, you're going to meet some assholes. And guess what? That's what's going to happen this entire year. You're going to continue to meet those people that aren't what you want. Or, I can't lose weight. Nope, you're never going to lose the weight. I'll never be rich. Yep, guaranteed. So instead, I'm going to be rich one day, or I'm going to meet the partner of my dreams, or I'm going to find a better job, but then being very specific. So what does that mean in what it is that you're looking for? What does a better job mean? Does that give it a dollar amount? Give it what it is you would feel. It's about that emotion that you feel in all of those different types of things, and being very specific on, like, when is it going to come, and how is it that I'm going to feel, and explain what the better, or what the partner of your dreams actually looks like. And so when you say those things, those are strong possibilities of happening. But when you get very specific, that's when our words tell our mind and the universe what it is we're actually seeking. And that's what we then start to get ready for. And I'll give you an example of this. So, of the negative words, is my daughter was a part of a gymnastics group. And anytime anyone said, I can't, everyone had to do burpees. So guess what? She never said that again, because she made that mistake, because not only was it something that she had to do, it also made everyone else have to do the burpees as well. And so sometimes when we think about those types of things, when we're needing to be broken of those types of words like I can't, sometimes when we, in like a parent or things like that, it's sometimes we have to do things like that to really break the habit of people saying those types of things. And so I loved that one. She never said that again, because even though she didn't, she probably was fine with doing the burpees herself, the fact that everyone in the group had to do the burpees, she never said that again, because she did not want to have to make other people do it, even though she was probably fine with saying it. And so I loved that, that in that group, because it really, when you think about the things that kids have to do in gymnastics, it's those limiting beliefs that end up keeping them from actually doing those things. So doing that back handspring, or trying to do, just trying and doing. Because the moment we say we can't, absolutely, you can't, because you have told your mind that you can't. The third area that ends up tripping people up is also lack of emotional engagement. And so sometimes we go through the motions of the visualization without really feeling it. So that's why we were talking about earlier that it's like really sort of almost feeling and looking at how it is that you feel as if you got it. So you want to engage all of those senses and emotions. So how do you see it? How do you hear it? How do you feel it? And even smell your desired outcome. And so you're really cultivating that genuine excitement of what it is, that energetic state of what matters and what it is that you're looking for. The next one is also very key. So this is number 4. And I would say that this is the one that impacts people the most. And it is skipping the inner work. And so sometimes we only picture the outcome, but we ignore the beliefs and the blocks. So sometimes it has to do with fear, scarcity, our limiting mind, beliefs. And sometimes it has to do with like how we were raised. Like, I want this, but our mind or the things we were taught when we were younger tell us, oh, you shouldn't feel that way because that's greedy, or that's bad, or that's wrong, or all of those types of things. So sometimes it also has to do with the things that we have learned as we grew up, that we're told, oh, you shouldn't be able to feel that way because that is bad. So the biggest thing to understand in this is to really dig deeper in understanding more about yourself. And so I can tell you that many times I've seen people visualize abundance or money, and they can't understand why it's not happening. And it's really because when things don't happen to flow, it's most likely a fear or a limiting belief or shadow work that still needs to happen. And a lot of times it does have to do with like the way that you grew up. So, how do you think about money? Like, what were the things that you were taught growing up? Or what is happiness? What does happiness look like for you? And even things like you must work hard in order to get what you want. Okay, do you? Do you actually have to work hard in order to get what you want? Sometimes, sometimes not. I've gotten some things like that. And then I've had other things that it's taken 10 years, but it really had to do with me working on myself internally. That was the hard work. It was not skipping this particular step and understanding the lessons that I needed to learn. And we talked about earlier, the very first law, universal law, is the law of patterns. And so understanding the patterns. So you had mentioned the vampires, for example. So that was a pattern that was showing up. So why does that keep happening? What is it about the belief that you had, or maybe the things that you had within your mindset that kept attracting these types of people? So I want to understand a little bit more from people. For me, this is probably the most important area, is understanding some of those things, those patterns that sometimes we don't pay attention to. And so in order to identify the patterns, we have to make time to do the shadow work. And what I mean by shadow work is just taking time to reveal and release the things that are keeping us from moving forward. And some of the things that I have found helpful is everything from journaling. I used to think, that's just such bullshit. Like, really, journaling? Is it really going to help me? Actually, it does, because it puts you in a state of quietness and just sitting there and writing, and then putting out your thoughts and understanding more about how you think about the world or the things that are going on. Dream analysis has been one of the other amazing things, because 80% of the things we do are unconscious, and we have no idea why it is we're doing that. And so when we sit there, even in like a meditative state or a guided meditative state, or just taking time to pause, it allows us to be able to reveal some of those things that we need to pay attention to. And that's where dreams can really help us as well. So we can understand the things that are still bothering us, or the things that are manifesting itself or bubbling up within us that we still need to deal with. And what I have found is that we might deal with something and then we think it's done. And then all of a sudden it might pop back up like, oh, it's ready to reveal some more things related to this. And so that's what I've really found, is the universe will help us to get and deal with those things, then give us the next thing that we really need to deal with in order to help prepare us to what it is that we're really wanting. So whenever I find that I'm in flow and I'm able to manifest like that, it's because I have no blocks. I have nothing that is like keeping me from moving forward. And I'll give you an example of one of these. I had an individual that I actually interviewed very, very early on when we first started. He was homeless, and he was a friend of my husband's, and I ended up helping him. What I found is that I could manifest things for him. Like, I was helping him left and right, and I was showing him that you can get things that you think are not possible. the challenge is I can't manifest for him. Like I could help him get these things and bring these things in, but he had so much work to do that he was not going to retain it, is what I ended up finding out. So I was helping him. We ended up getting money, helping him with things. There were certain things that he was like, I have tried this umpteen million times. They're not going to help us. He had that mindset. We went into the drivers to go get his registration and things like that. And it was very at the end part of the day. And if you don't get in by a particular time, they're going to cut you off. And we were right at that time, like we were missing that time. And I just looked at the guy and I said, is there anything you can do? Like, I know you can help us. Like you can get us. He goes, go sit over there. Like he had us sit there for a period of time because they were telling us we're not going to get in. And I just kept this positive. I was like, nope, we're going to get in. Like I was visualizing it. I was seeing us going up to the lady and getting, and doing things with them to give the money and to get his registration. I just continued to manifest that. And he was like, this isn't going to happen. This isn't going to happen. I'm like, no, it's going to happen. And we just sat there and we stayed patient and I stayed in this positive state, and he couldn't believe it. The guy goes, all right, go. And they did it after, like when it is 5 o'clock, like they shut down their windows. And for whatever reason, they let us continue forward. And he just looked at me like, I cannot believe you. Like, I cannot believe that you somehow convinced them to let us in. And there were multiple things that happened along the way that I kept showing him that, like, if you have a mindset of like, nope, this is going to happen. Like, no. And like it, things are going to be fine. They're going to be good. And if it didn't, then it's like, okay, well, what else is it that sometimes that's what happens is that I'm like, oh, okay, that didn't happen. Like I had a positive mindset, but what is it that I needed to deal with? Or what else is it that I'm having to understand more about myself as well? And so as you start to identify those patterns and reveal the things that you need to release from a limiting belief perspective or the shadow work, then it's also important to come back and re-anchor the thought pattern with positive affirmations. And this is what, why just doing affirmations don't help, that you have to do that inner work as well. And part of those things might be forgiveness. It might be a part of that inner work. So there might be times that all of a sudden a person comes back in your life and, this thought about someone that you're actually still mad about. And so it's also making sure that you're taking the time to forgive as well, because those may also be things that are keeping you from moving forward as well. And we did a past episode on this particular topic. So if you just type in BOYBAS and maybe forgiveness, that will probably pop up as well. All right. So Heather said, or what step did you forget or not know about that means you wouldn't have been successful? Yes. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit more as well as we go forward. Because that's really also it. It's sometimes the lessons or the things that we needed to focus on as well. And so number 5 is impatience and inconsistency. And this is probably one of the areas that a lot of times people just give up. And so they'll visualize it once or twice, but then, nothing changed. So this shit doesn't work. Like, this is never going to happen. But if you really stay in that state of creation and consistency in the things that you're doing, like you continue to see it and focus on it, whether it's, 2 minutes each day, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever it is, and continue to meditate and do the affirmations and really trust the process. This isn't the overnight thing that a lot of people expect. And especially if you have not done that inner work, Or if maybe there's something like Heather said, there's a step that you still need to learn, a part of really getting to where it is that you want to be, then that is a lot of times the things that are keeping you from being able to move forward as well. This next area, number 6, is probably the hardest. And so it is really related to trying to force or control the details. And so when you are manifesting, yes, you want to be very specific. And you also want to avoid saying it must happen this way at this time with these exact people. So when you hold your vision loosely and you're open to the different paths or the timing or the opportunities that align with your desire, your overall desire, that is when you start to go down maybe different paths that you didn't even realize were possible. And the thing to keep in mind is that sometimes it's because the universe might have something bigger for you. And so sometimes it might be that you're dreaming too small. It wants something bigger for you. And that is one of the things that is important, is to remove the attachment to the outcome and be in a state. Oh, looks like we're having an issue with Facebook. And so I just got to pop up on that. And so if you hold your vision loosely and be open to those different paths, that's when you want to remove the attachment to the outcome and just be in a state of love and connection. And I would say that this is the trickiest part, that earlier we said we have to be specific, and yet now I'm also saying, well, don't tie yourself to the outcome. And so it's about setting it clearly, but then letting it go. And that is where it's also tied to the next one, which is you have to pair trust with action. So it's setting the intention, letting it go, and being aware. We'll talk about being aware of the different things, but also when you neglect the inspired action and you rely solely on the thought of this practice and you never follow through with like real world steps that we talked about earlier, if you are not noticing the intuitive nudges or ideas after you visualize, then that's the next area that sometimes people don't do, is they need to at least take one small action daily towards what their goal is. So it's letting go, but staying open to those different things that might tell you, oh, this is the different path, or oh, did you see this? So when you're drawn to do something, you then research it, you reach out, you learn, you take action without forcing a specific timeline. And the universe really nudges you and lets you know that there's something else to pay attention to. So by clearly defining what you want, releasing what you imagine it must look like to get there, but also hold a vivid vision without clinging to the how and the when. And then you stay present and you celebrate each of those steps, those inspired actions or steps, and really trust that the universe or your own inspired action will fill in the details. And so I think that one of the things is that developing your intuition or being mindful of when it is that you're on the right path. And so I can tell you that right now I'm manifesting something big. I've been manifesting this for over 2 years. And along the way, it is taking me down different paths. I'm like, okay, you're telling me, yes, I should go this direction. And then all of a sudden it'll be like, nope, go down this direction. I'm like, okay, why are you taking me down this path? Like, this is the opposite of this path, but it's trusting the process and going, okay, maybe there's something I'm supposed to learn down this path, or maybe I have to do both, or maybe it wants both. So sometimes when you're so focused on like, this is the path, this is the way, this is what I want, and you're not open to those other things, it's sometimes wanting you to understand it may want both. And so that's what I said to myself. I'm like, are you wanting me to go down both of these paths? Like, continue down and do like all of this? And so that's, some of the things that happen in life is understanding those different paths along the way. And I can tell you that number 8, doubt and self judgment. This is one of the things that will keep you from manifesting what it is that you want. So when you say, who am I to deserve this? Or this will never work out for me, or you know what, I'm concerned about this, or I'm not worthy, or I'm not good enough, all of those self critical thoughts, that's when we have to come back to the practice of self compassion and reframing things and saying, you know what, I am worthy. I do deserve this. This is something that, that uh, I I want, and I something I feel like I should get, or it's something that I don't like the word should. So it's I am worthy of this. And so whenever you catch yourself slipping into that doubt or the overthinking, it's taking time to really gently remind yourself that you've set this intention and you need to trust the unfolding of the process. And I can tell you, I've gone through all of these. I've gone through the self doubt and the judgment, like, oh, I don't know that I can do this. I don't know that, that I'm the person for this, or maybe this isn't right, or I shouldn't go down this path. And then I caught myself. I'm like, Sarah, like, what are you doing? Like, why are you doubting yourself? You know that you can fucking do this. And so it was getting back on that path of, yeah, no, you can do it. Like, you've proved to yourself that you can do this, that you can do these things, that you can figure things out along the way. And then number 9 is comparing your journey to others. So when we start to measure our progress against someone else's timeline or method, like, why is so and so, they just got, a new house, or they just got married, or, whatever those things might be, we have to remember that manifestation is deeply personal. It is focused on our path and our milestones and the things that we're supposed to do. So put aside anybody else and stop comparing yourself to others. Number 10 is ignoring gratitude for the present. So when we make the mistake of always striving for more and feeling unfulfilled in the now, that is when we are not recognizing and appreciating the steps that we've made along the way. So begin and end your practice with genuine gratitude for what already is. That's what raises your vibration and magnetizes more to be grateful for. And so shifting your focus to present and feeling, as if it's already happened, that is, the things that you can do from a gratitude perspective is, oh, I see it. I see it coming. I see the end, and I also see these steps along the way. And so mentally in your heart, you have to immerse yourself in the joy or excitement or satisfaction or the freedom of having already achieved that goal. And this is accomplished through gratitude. And then do short but powerful emotional boosts. So where you stop asking, how will this happen? Oh my gosh, but I don't know how this will happen. And simply feel it now. So it's celebrating those small progress, the small progress that you're making. It's noticing and appreciating the tiny wins every day. It's that insight, the lessons learned, the phone call that, maybe someone is telling you, great job, things like that. It's really cultivating love for the process itself. And then the last mistake is not taking time for stillness. We're typically, when we're manifesting or trying to attract, we're like, we got to be on the go. We got to be in action. So being on the go and not taking time for rest and stillness is one of the biggest mistakes that I have seen, is that if your mind is go, 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 then we can't notice those nudges from the universe. And we might also be so overwhelmed with the resistance being thrown at our way that we don't take time to step back and look at things objectively and clearly. And so if we're not noticing those patterns or not noticing the nudges or the ideas that are coming our way because we're not taking time to have that stillness, then those are things that will continue to keep us from moving forward. And so take time to meditate. Just breathe. Get the clarity that provides us the option to, the ability to see the situation with calmness. And so for me, those are the 11 pitfalls that I have found as I'm manifesting, as I'm attracting, that have kept me from being able to move forward and achieve what it is that I have in place. I want to now focus a little bit on discuss what to do, which you can sort of probably intuitively gain from some of the things that I talked about. But I want to just see, are there other pitfalls or other things that you guys have found are important as you're manifesting or as you're attracting what it is that you're looking for? So I want to provide a little bit of time to see what you guys think. I'm going to take a little bit of a drink to help my voice. So give me just a second. I'm going to have a little hot tea too. All right. So I do want to hear from you of any other pitfalls, or maybe that, what pitfalls resonated with you. Of those, which ones did you find resonate with you that you have also experienced as well? And so let's talk about the things that we need to do. And so we talked about setting that clear vision and the intention and making sure that it isn't vague. We talked about number 2, being mindful of our energetic state. So are we grounded? Are we excited? Are we excited, but we still need to get back down to the grounding part of things. Number 3, letting go and being in the flow. So being open to those new directions, the nudges, the ideas that are coming our way, and then researching them, or seeing the possibilities of the different paths or the things that we maybe didn't even consider. So being in flow, letting go. Number 4, being curious to areas you still need to grow or lessons learned that you need to identify. So recognizing those repeating patterns that hold us back. And this is where we also help retain the vision as well. So once we obtain it, it's also making sure that we can then retain it. Number 5, being mindful of our words. Are we approaching it in a negative way, like I don't want this? Or we're saying things that are keeping us, like I'm always getting this, and it's really the negative that we're saying, instead of focusing on that positive. Number 6 is that take inspired action and noticing those intuitive nudges. So what are we doing to the little steps along the way, and also making sure that it's inspired, that your intuition is saying, ooh, you should explore this, or, oh, what about this? So it's taking those small steps and then also recognizing them along the way. And then number 7 is I would recommend starting your day with a short grounding practice. So deep breathing, a quick walk, journaling, doing some art. It's all about creation. And then adding moments of excitement. So taking time to visualize our goal vividly. So taking like 2 to 5 minutes, feeling those emotions and what all those senses, and imagining that we have already achieved it. And then number 8 is acknowledging and focusing on gratitude of the progress that we have made. And how I want to sort of end today is I have found that people believe manifestation can't coincide with God, when in actuality, I've found manifesting is about co-creating with the universe or the divine, that it takes both. And of course, how we literally take the word universe or the divine depends on our own beliefs. So some see it as quantum energy, others see it as God or source or Tao or collective consciousness or simply intelligence of life unfolding. None of those are wrong, but it's still the co-creating together. So however you view it, it's manifesting and viewing it as co-creation that allows us to have one, a shared responsibility. We bring clarity, intention, belief, and inspired action. And the universe or God or whatever the word is that you want to, the divine, brings the synchronicities, the opportunities, the people, the resources that we couldn't orchestrate on our own. That's where the co-creation comes into play. It's us bringing clarity, the intuition, the belief, the inspired action, and then allowing the universe to bring us things that we would never even think were possible or that we didn't even know about. Like people that all of a sudden come into our lives, or all of a sudden it's like I'm talking to someone and like, oh my gosh, I've been wondering about this. And all of a sudden you get this piece of information that you didn't know, or opportunities, or just resources that just come out of the blue. That's that shared responsibility between co-creation. Another area of co-creation is the trust and surrender. So co-creation implies a partnership rather than 100% control. That's what we have to understand, is that we can't be 100% in control of what it is that is happening. We also have to learn to do our part in setting the intention, taking the aligned steps, but we also have to trust and also surrender to the larger forces at work that will also fill the gaps. And then with co-creation, we have to also look at alignment of will. When our desires line up with the universal flow or the divine will, all of a sudden all the resistance melts away. It's like, oh, you've done the work, you've done these things. All of a sudden, these things start, the resistance of the things that you didn't learn, all of a sudden you've learned them, and that resistance melts away. So you experience more ease, fewer dead ends or roadblocks, and then often unexpected lucky breaks, like I was talking about with our friend. Just things started happening. All of a sudden, I go do some research and I find the right person online that's talking about the things that we needed to know in order to help him with his social security number and the things that we needed to know. Just all of a sudden, those things will appear. And then with co-creation, it's also making sure to have humility and openness, that you acknowledge that there's intelligence beyond your own mind. And this is what keeps us open to guidance and those inner nudges, the intuitive hits, the chance meetings that really help us on our journey and making sure that we're accomplishing what it is we're looking for. And then the last thing to keep in mind is that our dreams and growth become part of a bigger story. And it's really about the spiritual meaning of the things going on in our life. And it can deepen our sense of purpose, connection, and gratitude for life. And so it's keeping those things in mind along the way, that you are co-creating. It is about creation with the universe. And so when we're focusing on what it is we're wanting to create, or that bigger story of growth, and understanding more about our purpose in life and becoming our authentic self, that is when we really start to manifest. And so what I've also come to believe is that there is another version of myself that has already accomplished all these things. I'm now moving towards that particular version of myself, but I'm having to learn those things along the way. So I'm visualizing where it is that I'm going, and I'm also focusing on the things that I need to learn, the gratitude that I need to learn, the connections that I need to make along the way that I wouldn't be able to receive without that additional spiritual or divine intervention. And so Heather says I have to head out thank you for the great conversation on law of attraction. And I hope you all have a fantastic weekend. Thank you, Heather. And so I want to understand from people if you have any further thoughts as well. So today was a very sort of straightforward, like, here are the things that I've learned along the way about the law of attraction and the law and about manifesting. And I'd be curious just to understand other things that you have done, where you have been successful, the things that maybe you have struggled with. What are the things that I've said that have resonated with you? Or maybe you're like, Sarah, this is still bullshit. So let me know that as well. And so I want to also just, while you guys are potentially adding some things into the comments, I also wanted to let you know that I have Jason Stein joining us next week. He is going to be talking further about the law of attraction. I'm going to be flying back the day before. So fingers crossed, I'll be back. And then we'll be having that next Friday at the same time. We'll be interviewing Jason Stein. And so I think that you guys will enjoy him. I love some of the things that, as I talked to him, that he did. He was the person that when we first met, there was a lot going on, and we both just took like a minute just to meditate, and then we were able to be more present in our conversation. So I loved that. It was a new practice or a new thing that I was appreciative of him demonstrating. And so, all right, I'm going to end today. I'm not seeing any additional comments there. But also, I would just love to know, did you learn anything? Maybe, not now, but, as you start to sort of sit and think about this further, I would love to hear more from you on the things that you are manifesting in your life. And I can't wait to tell you what it is that I've been manifesting. And so I'm looking forward. I am manifesting in 2026 that this will be happening. And I'm hoping to be able to tell you then. And so we will see. And, or maybe the universe has more things that I still need to learn as well. And so thank you so much for joining us today. Hope you have an amazing weekend, amazing badass weekend. And I will see you next week, and I'll be a year older. So I'll be 51, and then also celebrating my husband and my daughter's birthday later in the month as well. And then we'll also have Thanksgiving coming up as well. And so we have a lot to be grateful for in our household. And so thank you everyone for joining us. Have an amazing weekend, and I will see you next week.